So we were talking about academic writing, that what is academic writing. So the definition of this academic writing is actually it is a process of writing where you put data analytically, fine, where you put data logically. It must be remembered by everyone whosoever is the writer, fine, that whenever he or she is writing in academic writing or in educational setting, he must write things that is logical, that is reasonable, that is sensible, fine. So then we came towards this these words, that the breaking down of ideas with the purpose of presenting information that depicts a clear understanding of a certain subject. Remember, for example, you are assigned a task and you are writing about that, fine. Why would you write about that? In order to bring clarity, fine, in order to inform the reader, in order to explain something, in order to describe something. We will be discussing these things in this slide, fine. But I just want to clear this notion that actually whenever you write academic writing, you are attempting something. There must keep this thing in mind, that actually whenever you are putting data, whenever you are putting or breaking down ideas, it must be for the purpose to bring clarity, fine. For example, if you are bringing further confusion, so that must not be actually the way of your writing. If you are writing, you must bring clarity, fine, in the subject that you are talking about, that you are writing about, fine. So academic writing is all about that data, that writing, that piece of writing where you bring clarity in the writing, fine, where you put data logically, sensibly, and rationally, fine. Academic writing is the process of presenting ideas in a rational. In a rational means, for example, if you are writing and you have no logical reasons for that topic, fine. So that writing is not academic writing. If it is academic writing, then you will write rationally, you will write sensibly, you will write with reasons, with logic, fine. You will support your argument, you will support your main idea, fine. Then the academic writing must be organized. Whatever you write, it must be having a in order, it must be having a proper pattern, fine. It must be having a proper format. Remember, if you are putting data in disorganized manner, your reader will get confused, fine. So in order to bring clarity, in order to bring unity in your writing, you must do organization, fine. You must do put your data in organized manner, fine, in a sequence manner, in an order, fine. Then it must be systematic in the same manner. It must be well organized, fine. It must be reasonable, means whatever you are presenting, whatever data you are collecting and you are writing, fine, you are putting that data, that must be on the basis of reasons, fine, and that must be logical as well, fine. So the definition of academic writing so far what we have studied is actually it is the form of writing where you put data logically, fine, where you search for reasons, where you search for evidence, where you search for proofs, fine, where you put facts and figures, fine, in order to support your argument, in order to bring unity in your argument, fine. These supporting details actually will support your main idea, fine, and that will actually convince your reader, fine. If you are putting data logically, if you are having organization in your writing, then actually you can convince your reader, fine, and then you can create an argument. Then coming towards the next slide, that academic writing must be reasonable, that must be reasons, but whatever you are claiming, whatever the argument you are creating, that must be on the basis of reasons, that must be rational, means that must be on the basis of where you are problem solving, fine. Whatever you are writing, that is problem solving. For example, if you are writing and you are further creating the confusion, bringing the confusion, that must not be the way of your writing, fine. You, if you are writing academic writing, if you are writing some formal writing, if you are attempting, so over there you must keep this in mind, that that writing must be problem solving, fine. Then you will focus on the logic, that whatever the data that you are collecting and you are putting that in your writing, that must be on the basis of logic, that must be logic in a logical manner, fine, that must be organized and that must be systematic, fine. For example, if you are writing and the data, the ideas are the sentences, the phrases, the clauses, the paragraphs that are disorganized, fine, that are orderless, so your reader won't get the main idea, the controlling idea. In order to convey your idea fluently, smoothly, you need to organize, you need to systematically present your ideas, fine. Coming towards the next slide, that is about the form of writing or the types of writing that we people actually do in our academic or educational setting, fine. So actually, we divide writing into four different forms. That is descriptive, then we have narrative, then we have persuasive, then we have expository. But when it comes to essays, or when it comes to any form of writing, and you are descriptive, doing or attempting descriptive form of writing you are doing. So over there, in descriptive form of writing, what you will do, the purpose of a descriptive form of writing or essay is to describe something. Over there, in descriptive writing, you actually describe something. You may be describing an object, you may be describing a person, you may be describing an event. For example, you may be describing a place, or you may be describing feelings, fine. For example, if you went to or visited to Islamabad and then you came back, and you are explaining, you are describing the that place, for example Shakarpania and the rest of places, Faisal Mosque, you are explaining that you are describing that place to your friends, to family members. So then that form of writing will be actually descriptive writing, fine, and the essay will be actually descriptive essay, fine. This essay provides artistic freedom to the writer. Then actually, whenever you are describing something, so you present it in a well manner, fine. You use imageries, fine. You use imageries in order to describe artistically, fine. In order to put beauty in that, fine. In order to put attraction in your writing, fine. So over here in descriptive writing, you describe an event, you describe a person, you can describe an object, fine. Then we have narrative writing or narrative essay. Over here in the narrative essay or the narrative writing, we actually focus on the narration, fine. We narrate a story or we tell a story to someone, fine. Over here, a narrative essay is an essay that has a central point and the whole essay is dedicated to the central idea. Remember, whenever you are telling a story, so the story is having a central idea, fine. All the characters, all the events, all the settings actually contribute to a central point, fine. All the incident, all the characters and events are having reference to the central idea. Whenever you are narrating a story, so a story is actually having a moral lesson, fine, or maybe having a central or controlling idea. So all the settings, all the characters, all the events, fine, all the all the environment actually that are contributing and dedicated to that controlling idea. So such form of writing is actually narrative writing or narrative essay, fine. Persuasive essay, one of the important form of the essay, where you create an argument, where you create for example a counter argument you are creating, fine. Or you are going against someone's opinion, someone's argument, fine. Then you go for persuasive writing. What you do in persuasive writing or persuasive essay, persuasive essay are for persuasion, for convincing, fine. It is actually you do attempt certain writing or you do write certain things in order to convince your reader, fine, in order to convince your audience. A writer tries to convince the audience to agree with his or her point of view. Remember, whenever you are making an argument, whenever you are claiming something, you support it, fine. You support it with certain facts and figures. You support it with certain examples. You support it with certain, for example, evidence and proofs. You bring these things in your writing, fine, and you support it fine, you support the main idea, the controlling idea, and through these things, actually these supporting details, you convince your reader. Fine. The main the importance of this writing, or the main purpose of this writing, is actually to convince your reader, fine. Strong evidence may take the audience fall in agreement with your argument. For example, if you are claiming that this is my right, fine, or this is our right, and you are quoting from different sources that are authentic. For example, from different religious books, you are quoting from constitutional articles, or from different sections, you are quoting that, and then you are giving references, and then you are presenting your argument, fine. So it will carry weight, fine. It will be having a kind of different side, fine, different facet, and the readers or the audience will get convinced because you present it in a well organized manner. You are having proofs, you are having evidences, you support your main idea, fine. So such form of writing, actually we do also in cause and effect essay, or contrast essay. Sometimes we do have a counter argument, fine. We create another argument, we go against someone's opinion, so we go for persuasive writing, fine. Then we have expository essay or expository writing. In expository writing, actually we expose. The word expository itself indicates expose, fine. Something that is hidden, something that is covered, we actually uncover it, fine. We explain that, we actually eradicate the confusion, we bring clarity, fine. An expository essay explains, illustrate, clarify, and explicate an idea or topic. It provides clarity to the reader. Remember, for example, if there is already something that is already discussed, but you want to bring clarity in that, fine. You want to inform the reader. You want to explain that thing further. So you will be doing expository writing, fine. Then we are coming towards main idea. Fine, our main topic is actually supporting details, but I just wanted to discuss these things with you. Main idea, different forms of writing. For example, if any MCQs comes in your paper, so you will be able to answer that MCQs. Fine. Main idea. What is main idea? The main idea is actually the big point, fine. The big point, the controlling idea, fine. The intended meaning, fine, that you want to convey through a form of writing, fine, are the most important idea that the writer is communicating to the reader. For example, if you are writing, fine, you may be having some purpose, fine, in order to, for example, if you are convincing your reader and you are conveying a certain idea, fine, a certain message. That message, that idea is actually the main idea, fine. Often the reader can find the main idea by just looking at the title. Even the title will tell you that what the main idea is, fine, what the topic is about, fine. Once you are cleared that what the topic is about, fine, so you are cleared about the main idea, fine. For example, a passage title, why students should have less homework, will include reason for this idea, fine. This why should a student should have less homework, this is actually the main idea, and the writer will support with certain arguments this main idea, fine, this controlling idea. This is the title, and this is actually the main idea, fine. Even if, for example, if you don't know how to search out and dig out for the main idea, read the title and you will clear for yourself that actually the title is giving you the clues that what the topic is about, fine, what is the main idea of the topic. Then we will come towards the supporting details. What are supporting details, fine. Supporting details, the word supporting detail itself indicates that actually these are those details, these are those information, those data, that data, fine, that actually support your main idea, that actually support your main argument, fine, or the claim that you are making, fine. For example, supporting details are examples and extra information that help you understand the main idea. For example, if you are making an argument, you support it with certain details, and those supporting information, those supporting details are actually the supporting details of that particular main idea, fine. And these are actually extra information. These can be facts and figures. These can be actually proofs, evidence, fine. Then coming toward the next slide, remember, this is very much important, without supporting details, you state the main idea or you state the main point, but you don't make the main point. For example, you are claiming something that this is my right, fine, this is my right, or this is my property. So you will be having, evidences, you will be having proofs for that, and you have to present it, fine, as a supporting detail. For example, if you are claiming and you don't have any supporting details, you don't have evidences, proofs, fine, then actually you can state that main point, fine, but you cannot make the main point. Remember, you cannot convince your reader, fine, you cannot make the main point, or you cannot convey your message, fine, you cannot convey your main idea, fine, that will won't be more convincing, fine. For example, if a text is having supporting details in a text where there is, supporting details are missing, so which one will be more valuable, which one will be having, that much importance, or people will get convinced from that writing where there are supporting details. Remember this, fine. For example, there is a line, I deserve a rise. For example, you people are working in a company or in a factory, fine, and you say or you claim that I deserve a rise, fine. Why do you deserve a rise? Then you have to support it, fine. For example, if your supporting details are reasonable, sensible, then you will be awarded, fine. Then the boss will be convinced and you will be given what you demand, fine. But for example, if you are just claiming it and you don't have any supporting details, then your boss won't even give you any heat, fine, any attention, because you don't have any supporting details, fine. This is your main point. For example, this I deserve a rise, so this is your claim, fine, this is your main point that you are making, or it is actually the supporting sentence, sorry, the topic sentence. And over here the topic is deserve a rise, you deserve a rise, fine. Then coming toward the next slide, next slide is about, for example, how you support your main point, how you bring supporting details, fine, through examples, fine. Through examples, you show how something is relevant, how something is related, fine, how something is having a quiet association with the main idea, fine. Through facts, you explain your main idea, fine. You further bring clarity in your idea, fine. Then you bring evidences, fine, in supporting details in order to prove whatever you are claiming, whatever you want to prove. For example, you are making an argument and you bring evidences, so you prove that, fine. You are making it more convincing, fine. Coming towards the next slide, that shows, fine, good supporting details actually shows it provide visual details using sensory imageries. You will bring those arguments, you will bring those supporting details that is actually that is actually visual details, fine. That is actually more convincing, fine. That is more attractive, fine. That convince the reader. And then there is, you bring further explanations, you bring further explanation in order to bring clarity, fine, in order to bring clarity. For example, whatever the argument you are creating, you explain that in your supporting details, fine. You bring visual details, fine, in order to bring clarity, fine. Then you prove it by by bringing evidences, by referring to certain authentic sources, fine. So these are actually the good. वही दोबारा वही मसला आ गया था, दोबारा कनेक्शन में मसला था. So we were talking about supporting details. We talked about good supporting details. That what are good supporting details? That shows visual details, fine. That explain your topic. That proves your argument, fine. Then we will come toward primary supporting details and secondary supporting details. Remember, there are two types of supporting details, or two ways of supporting your main points. One is primary supporting points, and the other is secondary supporting points. I'm, over here, I just want to take your attention, and that is actually primary supporting points are actually can be referred as major supporting details. Remember it, fine. And secondary supporting details can be also called as minor supporting details. Right? What are my primary supporting details are what are major supporting details? The major ideas that they The major ideas that back up your main point are actually the primary supporting details. Remember, the primary point, the primary supporting details through which you directly support your main point, through which you directly support your main point or controlling idea is actually the primary supporting details. Remember it, fine. And secondary supporting details, you do not directly support or back up your main idea. Rather, you support or back up your primary supporting details. Fine. Now coming towards adding secondary support. How will you add secondary supporting details in your writing? Fine. Now that you have chosen your primary supporting details, for example, if you are making an argument, you will be having primary supporting details for that. Then you will search for secondary supporting detail in order to support the primary supporting details. Fine. You add secondary supporting details by providing additional examples and illustration to back up your prime. Remember this line, that you bring those supporting details that are secondary in order to support, in order to back up your primary supporting details. Fine. Then we will come towards an example. For example, I deserve a rise. Fine. This is what you are making, and the argument you are making. Fine. Now you have to support this argument. Fine. Now, why do you deserve a rise? Due to attendance. Fine. Then you deserve it because of experience. Fine. Now, over here, attendance, experience, these are your primary supporting details. And the, never late, rarely absent, longevity at job, advancement. Fine. These are those details actually through which you support your primary supporting details. Remember it. Remember, for example, if these are secondary supporting details, so you do not support your main idea directly from these supporting details. Rather, you support your primary supporting details. Fine. And then primary supporting details actually directly support your main idea or topic sentence. Fine. Over here, this is actually for you people to remember that just because you find a point that is interesting does not necessarily mean you should include it in your writing. For example, if you find any piece of for example, piece of information, and you want to bring that into your writing, fine, and supporting details. Remember that that may not be the supporting details that may not be relevant. All the supporting details must back up your main idea, that must back up your topic sentence. If a sentence, if an idea that is not backing up, that is not supporting your main idea, main argument, remember that can't be your supporting details. Coming towards further explanation of the supporting details, further detail about the supporting details, it is that supporting details actually provide information to clarify, to prove, or explain the main idea. Fine. Why do we provide supporting details? In order to bring clarity, fine, in our writing, in order to prove what I am claiming, fine, in order to explain the main idea. These details demonstrate the validity of the main idea. For example, if you are supporting your main idea, fine, and it is holding water, fine, so it will show that actually the point that you are making is validify, fine, that is valid one, fine, that is valid one, that is authentic one, fine. They often list part, aspect, steps are examples of the main idea. Remember, when you are making an argument, so in supporting details you bring examples, you bring explanations, find further steps are explained in these supporting details. Sometimes they may list the cause of it, fine. Sometimes you create an argument, for example, global warming. So what are the causes of global warming? Then you further explain it in your supporting details or the main body, fine. Then you come for effects, fine. You can also go for effects in supporting details or ways in which it shows itself to be true, fine. Remember it, that through supporting details you support your main argument, you back up your main argument, fine. There are two types of supporting details. That one is the major supporting details and the other is the minor supporting detail, fine. Major supporting details, as I said, earlier that major supporting details are also called primary supporting details, fine, or you can interchangeably use it, fine. And actually it explains the main idea directly, fine. They are more specific, the main for example, you are making an argument, so through primary supporting details, through major details, you actually support your main idea directly, fine. It provides examples through support major details, you provide example reasons, statistics, and studies that help make the main idea clear and convincing, fine. Fine, if you are making an argument, you are writing about something through major details, through primary supporting details, you will back up your main idea, fine. You will make your main idea more convincing, fine. And it also will answer the reader questions. It will be problem solving, fine. It will bring clarity in your writing, fine. Minor details are also called secondary supporting details. It explain the major detail. It explain the major detail, remember this can be in MCQs, fine. Minor details actually explain major details, or secondary supporting details actually support the primary supporting details, fine. Are even more specific than major details. Why they are more specific? Because you just are stick to that major point, fine. Repeat key points and add colorful details. And secondary supporting details, you add extra information, fine. And or may not be important. Sometimes you do not even dare to present it, fine. The present the minor details for because that may be important or may not be important, fine. There here are the examples. The example is actually given to you people, you can read it yourself, fine. I just want to clear this thing to you people. There's some extra hints. Supporting details in a sentence or a paragraph might begin with some of the following words. Once these things comes in your reading, remember, or your writing, remember, you are adding supporting details, fine, in your writing, fine. For example, if you are reading an article or report, fine, over there you find these words, so it must be clear to you that now the supporting details over here are started, fine. Then over here is also another example, you can read it yourself. Over here you will find the main idea, how through major details the main idea is supported, then how with minor details the major idea is the major detail is supported, and then the major detail is supporting the main idea, fine. So it was all about supporting details in academic writing, and we will be discussing inshallah coherence in the next chapter, sorry, in the next lecture, fine. Any question so far? Any question? आपका कोई सवाल हो तो आप पूछ सकते हैं काइंडली प्लीज.